Hi, I'm Allie, and this is my husband Justin. When we moved into our DIY camper van 6 months ago, our lives were turned upside down. From minimal living to taking showers, there was a lot to get used to. Now that we're getting a feel for things, we decided to share some tips we wish we knew before starting full-time van life. Hit subscribe and get ready to see our top 8.
So if you watched our last video, you know that we are back in our hometown of St. Louis, trying to make up for some mistakes we made along the way.
So while we're here, we thought we would share with you 8 things you should know before you move into a van.
Maybe it can save you a trip home in the middle of your road trip.
This is our 3rd trip home.
So, save you 3 trips home.
Daunting thing when you first move into the van is finding a place to sleep. And so when we first started van life, we just had one app, but you actually want to have multiple ways to find a camp spot.
That's right. We did used to just use iOverlander, but after a few different times where there was just nothing anywhere near where we were at, we downloaded the Dirt and we downloaded Free Roam, and those have gotten us out of a pinch and found us places to sleep a few times.
And if we're super desperate, good old trusty Google search. I mean, you can find a lot there, from boat ramps to rest stops. A lot of times when you're in the city, those are the places you're sleeping. So definitely Google search if you're desperate.
Number 2, van repairs are going to happen.
Yeah, if you've been following along at all, you know this is quite an issue right now.
Yeah. Not to mention, the older the van, the more they're going to happen. So if you're like us, you buy a used van and you just drive it and 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 drive it. Then it's gonna fall apart pretty quickly on you. So
make a really educated choice when you're buying a van. We bought a Sprinter van, and sometimes I wonder if that wasn't the most logical choice, just because the parts are really expensive and you have to go to Mercedes to get that van fixed most of the time.
With our transmission problems, we had to go to Mercedes. It's a Freightliner Sprinter, and the Freightliner dealership told us they couldn't do anything about it because they had to go to Mercedes. So it's like,
yeah, there's like a patent Mercedes tool for the transmission. How annoying, right? Also, with repairs, your actual van build, it's just been sitting in a driveway most likely, getting worked on. For us, that was a whole year. So when we actually got our wheels rolling, things in the van build fell apart. And so
if you're a professional van builder, you probably know all the ins and outs. You've built vans before, you know what you're doing. If you're not a professional van builder,
like us,
you learn as you go. And so once you start driving on the highway a lot, that's when it really tests things out. And when things fall apart and you hear a snap behind you, you know there's something that you gotta fix.
If you saw last week's video, you know where we are financially, and having a money source lined up first before you hit the road, we didn't do that. But that was a big mistake. Yeah, the hugest mistake. It causes so much more stress. So even if you do have a savings, we had a savings.
We had almost $10,000, and we had this whole notion, we've got 10 grand, we've got time, let's hit the road, we'll find work while we're on the road.
That money goes fast when you have an old van that needs to be fixed 24/7. So get a job before you move into the van. You're already going to be adjusting so much just with the lifestyle. The last thing you need to worry about is applying for jobs left and right.
Not to mention, it's just hard finding jobs when you're constantly on the move. I don't really know where I was going with that, but
well, like a lot of companies want to ship you a computer. They want to run a speed test.
So find a job before you go. Get your revenue sources in line before you hit the road. That way you're already set. It'll make the start of your trip way less stressful. before, routines are still very important. If you're like me, when we first moved into the van, had this whole notion of like, van life is so freeing and so like anti-structure and everything, so it's gonna be great. We don't need routines, we don't need any kind of structure, let's just hit the road and just do it all as we go.
Mind you, we just left our 9 to 5, so we left a very structured lifestyle and we went full on like
no structure.
No structure at all.
Nothing.
And so for me, self-care is really important. I really want to make sure I have like a clear face. I want to work out. I don't work out right now, but I want to. All those things just kind of went into the garbage can because we didn't prioritize it. So now we have acne and we have to get back into a routine for washing our faces.
They are helpful. You're living such an unpredictable lifestyle that routine can help kind of keep you grounded. And whenever things pop up, you've always got that to fall back on. And plus, you're gonna have to make money somehow. What we're doing shipped right now, if you have a 9 to 5 job you're doing in the van, whatever it is, routines are gonna help you find that work-life balance while you're on the road. Separating your fun time from your work time, and it's gonna help keep you sane.
I completely agree.
Next!
Something we didn't really think much about, but I found it to be kind of necessary when you're driving your home on wheels is researching the areas you're going to.
Not all areas are good areas. We found this the hard way from when we were doing DoorDash. If you ever do DoorDash in a city that you're not familiar with, sometimes it'll just rope you into the worst areas of the city, and before you know it, you're driving around a really not friendly looking place in a very eye-catching vehicle. Not
only do you want to research it because it might not be safe, but some places don't really like van lifers. Like in Naples, Florida, they do not want anyone sleeping in their car. There's actually a city ordinance against it.
You can't sleep at Walmarts, you can't sleep at travel stations or anything. You cannot sleep in your car or you will wake up to a knock anywhere within the city limits of Naples unless you're paying to camp.
Another thing, places might be closed. So WMA lands, a lot of times if it's hunting season, they won't allow campers to come because they don't want you to get shot. So I mean, that's a good thing to know.
Or flooding is another one. We experienced that in Georgia, trying to get to some WMA land in Georgia, and there was a lot of floods. We didn't look into it. We're driving along, and all of a sudden the road just disappeared, and it looked like it was just a river. The water was covering the mailboxes almost. I mean,
the houses were halfway covered. It was insane.
So look into it before you go there, because it's worth checking out before you drive all the way there and end up in the middle of nowhere with nowhere to go. Number 6 is travel with the weather. Some people might be chasing the cold if you're like a snowboarder or a skier. If you're like us, you're chasing the warmth. So don't put yourself in places that you don't want to be during the bad season, because it's always changing.
In California, when we went there in February, we were going up this mountain and there's all these signs warning you, turn around if you don't have chains. And we're like, well, I mean, it's not snowing, it's not that cold, I bet it'll be fine. But the further we went up, started to sleet, and we're like, we don't even have chains, let alone good tires. So we actually turned around and went back down. So I guess, like, hindsight, we had tons of signs, literally road signs, telling us not to go up that mountain, but just keep that in mind.
Follow the weather, you know?
Yeah.
If you don't like the heat, maybe don't go to Florida in July. If you don't like the cold, don't go to Colorado in December. Just, you gotta know not only your limitations, but your van's. If you don't have a 4x4, don't go somewhere where you might get stuck because it's muddy or because it's snowy. This just in, number 7.
Van life isn't as glamorous as Instagram makes it out to be. Instagram makes everything look beautiful, makes everything look perfect.
We
what
all know it's
you
true.
don't see is the fact that there might be like 100 mosquitoes outside when you take that beautiful mountain-esque picture. Or, you know, there might be spiders crawling all over your van because you left your door open because you wanted it to be romantic.
Or the van might smell like poop because somebody just pooped. Moral of the story is, it's not as glamorous as it always seems. We all know it's true, but I mean, we're guilty of it. We heard that over and over again going into it, but it's still a lot less glamorous than even what you're expecting. So just prepare yourself for that. It's still worth it, in our opinion. It's awesome. But there's a lot to get used to. It's a really steep learning curve. You've got to relearn how you do dishes, how you shower, how you consume electricity. Like there's a lot that goes into it beyond just taking cool pictures.
Yeah.
So.
Unfortunately. Last but certainly not least, do not cheap out on things you're going to be relying on.
We thought we did really good about this, but we didn't replace our batteries. The van came with batteries from an old work van, and we decided to reuse them instead of forking out the money for new ones. And it came back to bite us pretty quick.
I mean, if you are going to be charging cameras, if you have lots of lights, if you have, maybe you have an induction stovetop, we don't, but if you're going to be relying on electricity, make sure you prioritize that for sure. Or if you don't care about electricity, maybe you do everything with gas, then like make sure you have a giant ass gas tank.
So it might not be batteries for you, but whatever it is, if it's something you don't want to deal with replacing next week, next month, just get the nicer one off the get-go and save yourself some trouble.
If you want to see everything we regret about our van build, make sure to check out our van build regrets video. I think it's up here. Then
And some things we love.
Yeah, some things we love too. You know, we kind of like our van.
So that's it. 8 things we wish we knew before we moved into the van.
If you have been living in a van and you have additional information to share, please comment down below. Let us know.
Yeah. Definitely give the video a thumbs up if you liked it.
Smash that subscribe button because we upload new videos every Sunday. So,
we'll see you then.
bye.
Oh. Wait, that didn't work.
Oh, is there a toilet to use in here?
Nope.
Nope, no toilet here. We actually got rid of it, so
I smell toilet seat.
why do you know what a toilet seat smells like? Routines are still very important. You're supposed to be talking. Hello? It's me. I'm in the van dreaming of the way things could be when we weren't at Walmart and free.
We were running on the beach, eating chicken and chickpeas.
Hello from the rest of